Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast, the movie review and talk show podcast that comes your way every Saturday, whether you're ready for it or not. These are the internet radio superstars.
Holly.
Michaela.
And I'm Colin. And tonight we watched a movie that was chosen by...
Colin, what rodent snuff film did we watch this evening?
The American Humane Society was not involved in the making of the food of the gods.
The food of the gods.
Or, sorry, H.G. Wells, the food of the gods.
That's important.
Yep.
From the year.
1976.
The bicentennial.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday. Yeah, that's what it's about. Happy birthday, America. Here's a movie from British Columbia.
Yep.
Who directed this masterpiece of homicide?
Bert Ira Gordon, who would be credited as Bert I. Gordon.
Bert I. Gordon.
So his anagram then is Big.
Okay. Yeah.
So
who's Big? Yeah. Tell us about Big.
Man, this guy has been around since like the 30s, 40s. He directed movies. He directed black and white giant monster movies.
Nice.
Like The Spider. Wow. Earth versus the Spider also. I mean, there were several of them. And then
like
kept
the thing
working.
That brought you to the drive-in.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So there you go. He was doing like the drive-in, the B movie, double bill stuff. I mean, directed a bunch of other genres also, but he was a effects technician too. And I became aware of him because of the two movies that he made in this time period. First was H.G. Wells' The Food of the Gods.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following year, H.G. Wells' Empire of the Ants. That was the one that starred Joan Collins. And it was a toss-up which one I was going to bring tonight.
Oh,
So
okay.
somewhere on the list, Empire of the Ants is on there
Right.
too. Because I think I remember seeing that one when I was a kid on television somewhere, because Ant Vision was like,
Oh, really?
Okay.
6 different lenses looking
Oh,
at
that's
Joan Collins.
amazing.
No, we need to have a conversation real quick because I had a true life horror experience involving ants the other day. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I'm in my driveway. I'm washing off like some chairs, and I look over as I'm like hosing a chair, and there is an army of red ants coming at me in the millions.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. The fucking millions. Like in a triangle formation coming straight at me.
Like a cartoon, like when bees
Yes.
form an arrow in a cartoon.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
They came straight at me and came straight for my feet and started crawling up
Oh
me.
my
No.
God.
I
Did you
was like,
spray them down with a hose?
I was hosing
Yeah.
them off nonstop, just like, and they kept coming.
Yeah.
They would not stop, and they were like red ants, like biting me.
Yeah.
It was like the fucking.
Shit hurts.
It was painful and terrifying. I was like, this is shit we watch in Colin's basement.
I know,
This
where
is-
did they come
So,
from?
I don't know where they came from.
Oh.
Because they came from.
Like
there was,
up the driveway from the street or from a
Like,
bush or
Where did they
something?
come
Like what
from?
was the...
Okay, well, I know your house,
Okay.
but were they coming from your yard area?
Okay,
the
so
direction
I was
of
like,
your yard? Or
I was like in my driveway, like in front of my garage.
Okay.
So they were coming from like the strip of lawn between my house and my neighbor's house.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to blame your neighbors then.
I
This is
blame my
their
neighbors
fault.
too. Yeah. But
So
it
they
was,
did something that sent
That
this
drove them
horde of
out, yes.
ants
Like-
like running.
I don't know if they like sent an attack on me or if these ants were just like sitting and waiting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they like came straight for me. Like they
That's
had
crazy.
a vendetta.
That's like when nature attacks.
It
Yeah.
was when nature attacks. It was the most terrifying experience. It was horrifying.
Dude, and bugs can never know how much we're afraid of them. They
Dude.
can never know. If they find out how terrified
Yeah,
we are,
yeah,
then
yeah,
it's over
yeah,
for
yeah.
us.
Like,
You know?
I mean, I kind of understand because like I have an ant problem like around my house, as most of us do. I get my little liquid traps,
Yep.
and it's fine, whatever. But outside, if I see like swarms,
Yeah.
I'll get like soapy dishwater,
Right.
and throw it on them like everyone does.
Right.
Get rid of them, and I'm like, do they know this?
Right. Like she's a mass murderer.
Like, am I the mass murder of ants and they've been sitting and waiting? It
Yeah.
was the most scary experience I've ever had. Like, it was terrifying. And I saw a ghost recently.
Yeah.
And that wasn't anything compared to this army of ants
Well,
coming straight at me.
I'm glad that you survived, that you're
Yes.
still here tonight, because it sounds like this was a close call.
It was a close call. It was really... It reminded me of those ants from the really shitty Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah,
reminded me of that because they were like, they had a mind of their own. Like, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was so
Protecting
scary.
the queen, attacking you, who were in their way. I don't know. Yeah.
I was like, I feel like a fucking Bond villain. Like, they're coming for me. It was terrifying. But
Well,
anyway.
we're talking about Killer Ants. Well, I guess the other movie, but this is a When Nature Attacks movie.
That's why, like, halfway through this movie, I was like, I tell you my ant story. This like triggered me. It really felt like this movie. Anyway, back to rats.
We've done a bunch of these before.
Yeah.
What's your favorite When Nature Attacks movie that you've seen?
We really liked Kingdom of the Spiders.
I really
We
liked
really had
Kingdom of the
fun
Spiders.
with that one.
Grizzly was good too. I liked that one.
Yeah.
I'm
I have
trying to-
special.
suddenly I can't remember any one we've done.
Well, of the giant monster
Like
variety.
Anaconda's fun.
Anaconda's fun.
I like
Lake
that.
Placid was stupid but fun.
Yeah.
I remember not really liking of what was it, of Deadly Origin or Dangerous Origin? What was it? The one with the
Of
giant
Unknown Origin. No, that was it.
Unknown
of
Origin.
Unknown
Yeah, yeah,
Origin.
yeah.
That was a rat movie. There was
Yes.
we never did Graveyard Shift on this show. That's a rat movie. I like the Night of the Lepus, the
Yes.
one
Night
about
of
the
the
giant
Lepus,
bunny
great.
rabbits.
That's a fun one. Yeah.
If you haven't seen giant
Amazing.
bunny rabbits, all
a
these
fun one.
movies, they like use the same kind of technique, which is building these, and this is why I love them. They build these little miniature like houses or towns or intersections or crossings or whatever, and then turn life-size animals loose, but they shoot it in a way that makes them look gigantic, like the giant Gila monster.
Yeah.
Right? You ever seen
Yes, I have. Yes.
or tarantula.
Yes.
But this one, they try very hard to fuse the scenes together. The miniatures,
composite shots,
the composite
yeah.
shots with the miniatures
Yeah.
and
It
the
doesn't
real
always
life.
work. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work, but it's charming.
Because there was a thing, I guess, in this era, and I guess this is a low budget movie, but like they just couldn't get the film registration. 'Cause
Yeah.
Right.
Film moves when it goes through a camera.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a shudder on the the effects work that doesn't
and
quite
you get that
match
little
up.
flicker.
Yeah. So what, the classic giant monster movie is Them, right?
I
Was it the
love
one that
that.
like
That's
kicked
one of
it
my
off?
favorites. Yeah.
Because that's like that one's considered like a sci-fi classic.
Yes.
It's better than all the other black and white B movies that were cheaper.
Definitely.
The ones that Bert I. Gordon made. And this one, I was like, in the 70s, right? There was like this huge production of like giant, ecological horror movies. And I think it was like in the 70s, maybe we became more aware of pollutants, stuff that was being used in herbicides and stuff like that. And we watched Scanners, right? That was like pharmacology and how it was affecting, people. So it's like, that's kind of where this comes from. Although this one doesn't have the evil industrialists who like created the stuff, like
Right.
Alligator.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's another
That's
great.
another great
Yeah, this one, it's just of the gods. Like, we never
Right.
find out who
and that's
supplies
the
this.
H.G. Wells of it all.
Yes,
Like that to me
yeah.
feels very like
It's
that's
very
the part they took
alien.
from the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and much like other trends in the 70s, this also came back in the 90s as well. Like we've talked about a lot of the 90s ecological horror on the show. Bats, Anaconda, Lake Placid,
Skeeter.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so
Eight-legged freaks.
like arachnophobia, which we
Yeah.
also did on this show. But yeah,
Oh,
there
arachnophobia.
was like a second wave of it in the 90s as well, which was
Yeah.
another time of like, all we have to do is recycle and the earth is saved, was very much the sentiment of the late 90s.
Is arachnophobia the best one?
don't
I
know,
mean,
I think it might be.
maybe.
Better than, I
I don't know. Kingdom of the Spiders
Yeah, I
is
know.
so
I have
good,
a soft spot for that one.
Yeah.
And Alligator. I mean, I
Yeah,
love
Alligator.
Alligator. But Alligator's more like a Jaws kind of.
Arachnophobia is like good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
Like,
really
it's
good.
solid. Like, even
Yeah.
people that don't like sci-fi kind of like that movie.
Yeah.
That might be
Yeah.
the best one.
Well, there's I guess, what was I going to say? They still do them, right? I mean, I guess that's old now. The Sharknado movies
Yep.
are
Yeah.
also like kind of a ecological horror. They just have Sharktopus versus Piranhaconda, all that stuff. Okay, so and I guess I was saying there's no evil industrialist responsible for it, but there is an evil industrialist or somebody who wants to get rich off of it. The H.G. Wells novel that this is based on
Based on a portion of, according to the credits, a portion of an H.G. Wells novel.
Because Bert I. Gordon had already made a movie in the 60s, I believe, called The Village of the Giants, which is about teenagers who eat some kind of substance that makes them grow into giants. And Ron Howard was in
on the
it.
show.
Ron Howard's in it.
All right, we need what is this called?
The Village of the Giants.
Okay, sounds like something we should watch on this show.
Right. So I think that's the back half of this story. Like,
Okay.
And I do believe in the book, I think, from what I was just looking up, like I said, I haven't read
So
it.
is this a prequel to that?
I think this is a prequel to The Village of the Giants. I think. Because I know, and I also know that in the novel, I believe the substance, the food of the gods, is man-made, where here it is not in this movie.
That we know of.
Right.
That we know of.
It's,
What is
it's
the
very
food of the
mysterious.
gods?
It's this like white goo that is, it's like almost coming out of the ground like a natural spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it's on this little farm in British Columbia, this little old couple that find it and start feeding it to their chickens.
As you do.
Sure.
You find something bubbling up out of the earth and
You're
you
like,
go,
oh, well, this looks nice. Let's
It
mix
looks
it
like
with our chicken food.
Runny cottage cheese. It's pretty gross to look at. I really don't like how much we have to look at it.
Yeah,
in this
it
movie.
looks like melted yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
and we're told that none of the animals
being
would
kind with our
naturally
descriptions.
eat the stuff. So it's been mixed with their feed in order
Yeah.
to get them
Here,
to eat it.
eat
So
this.
it's not,
You're not going to eat it? Oh, well, let's mix it with your food so you will eat it.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
would you do that?
I know, because what
That's so stupid.
I want to know, like, how she knew that it caused like growth. She
Right.
just said this is like white mud is bubbling up out
Yeah,
of the.
this
Right.
white mud is bubbling up out of the ground, and I tried to feed it to our animals, but they wouldn't eat it. Wouldn't you stop there?
Right.
Stop there. These people don't seem very smart, so
Well, this is true.
Right.
So who's our cast? Who's in this movie?
Marjoe Gortner from Star Crash.
I was gonna say Star Crash. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember his character's name. He's in this.
It's nope.
like
I
Tommy.
forgot. No,
I don't know.
no,
That's
it starts with
right.
an M.
Yep. Mike, Matt,
no,
something. We just watched it. We can't
Yep.
remember.
Mac
But Marjoe Gortner,
Mulford. I don't know.
we spoke about before on 2 other episodes.
Oh, so that means he's on the
He's
wall.
on the wall.
Oh,
We're
wow,
putting him on
congratulations.
the Saturday Night Freak Show Wall of Fame. Thank you, MF Mad, for pointing this out. But Star Crash,
Yes.
the great Italian Star Wars ripoff,
Oh man.
That was something.
and Mausoleum.
Oh, yes,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Morgan was his character.
Morgan. I
Morgan,
knew it was
okay.
them.
And Marjoe Gortner, you remember like his real life story? Like that guy is a trip.
Vaguely.
I
Remind
vaguely
me.
Remember, yeah.
When he was a child, he was a he was an evangelist. He was one of those like child
Right.
prodigy who would heal people at like tent revivals and stuff. His dad, that became, and then later he was the subject of a movie called Marjoe, which he basically debunked all the, healing aside, and that became like the foundation for the movie The Last Exorcism.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
I
like, that's
forgot
kind
all
of-
about this.
Yeah, because he
Whoa.
left the ministry,
I
right?
need to watch the
Yeah, I
yeah,
need to
it's
see
like
need
that.
to watch that.
70, like early 70s. I think it's
Marjoe-
just called Marjoe.
Marjoe. I need to
That's
watch that.
Crazy.
Because he was famous, and I mean, people who are aware of like this kid who,
Yeah,
Right.
was running, because I guess he was well spoken as a child, and
Sure.
fiery hell and brimstone,
Yeah.
fire and brimstone
He had
sermons
the
and stuff like
pageantry.
that.
Yeah.
Then he left that and he went to Hollywood. I think
Like
maybe
you do. They're very similar.
he may have. I'm trying to remember if he actually had like a college football career, or
Probably
if it's just
evangelism, they're all
because
very
of
similar.
in this movie he's like seen in football at the beginning of it. But I think he had something to do with football. Then the movies, great movies like Star Crash, Food of the Gods.
This documentary sounds fascinating. I gotta watch it.
I know.
I know,
I
but-
really need to watch this.
After we talked about him the last time, I went looking for it, and I
Yeah.
didn't think it was streaming anywhere.
Damn. Okay.
Not even a
But
Prime?
maybe it is now. I don't know.
Let's see.
Man, I gotta
But
watch
Marjoe.
this thing.
Yeah.
Sounds
Um,
right up my alley.
so Marjoe Gortner is our main character. So who is our main character? Who is this guy?
He's a football player
Yes.
who's on a hunting trip with his 2 pals.
He's a college football player?
That
Unclear. I think so.
he has an agent, so I don't know.
And we're like, how old is Marjoe Gortner when this? He looks
I was
30.
like, nothing is clear. Like, it's not clear if like this is where the team actually plays, if this is just like where they go to practice, where they're actually at. I don't know. It's very unclear.
Yeah. So the demands of the schedule, right? He has to be at the big game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So this must be like Monday or something like that.
Yep.
And his coach has told him to just go take some time off. It's very stressful preparing
Marjoe
for.
is $3 on Prime right now.
Oh, there you go. You can watch it. Put it on your list. Marjoe, the movie.
Yeah.
Running time.
Hour 28 minutes.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. Watch it
So
now.
I know I got to see this now. So he and his
pals.
Yeah.
who was like not a player but like
No, is it like his agent?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
oh,
he
it was a
said
PR guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
his PR
he
guy.
was going to go to Chicago to like make a deal for him or something.
Right.
Yeah,
So they hop on a ferry.
and then just some random friend.
Yep.
You know who the other guy is.
Oh, that's right. There was another guy.
So, yeah.
And they go on a ferry over to the island. I love like the way this kind of looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Which
Pacific Northwest and
It's in British Columbia, so
All foggy.
they're probably going to Vancouver Island, which is really nice. This looks beautiful. Though.
It's
I
so
wanna go here
beautiful,
so bad.
yeah. And his PR buddy is what's his face? It's Man at Arms from Masters of the Universe.
right.
Yeah.
I don't remember that actor's name,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Oh, what
but
is
yeah.
his name? He might be on the wall. I feel like he was in something else we watched.
Wait, was he on the wall? Hold on, because that's right.
Yeah.
MF Mad said there
I
was
feel like he's on the wall.
one other addition. Was Davis the? We should have prepared for this. I'm sorry. I apologize. Who was his agent's character's name?
I don't remember his name.
Well, Davis whoever Davis
what's the actor's
is.
name?
is Chuck Courtney,
Oh, that might be him.
and Chuck Courtney. Well, we watched Masters of the Universe, and that's not on this list. But
Oh,
we
then
did watch Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
Oh yeah.
And we watched Pet Cemetery, where he played Bill Baderman. You know who he
That's
is?
right.
He's Old Man Skinner.
Is he really?
Oh, he is Old Man Skinner.
He was Old
You're
Man
right.
Skinner.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. We got you, Chuck. All right. Well, congratulations for joining the Saturday Night Freak Show Wall of Fame. Okay, so they go to the scenic, smoky island for a weekend of relaxation.
Yes.
But that's not going to happen because what happens?
Because why does he have to go to the lady's house with the chickens? I don't remember what gets him there.
So they go on horseback and
Yes, that's right.
they're hunting,
Mhm.
basically, right?
John Cypher is who I'm thinking of.
Mm.
Man at Arms. John Cypher.
Okay, so we got one more movie to go with John Cypher
we do.
to put him on
Anyway.
the wall. So they're hunting,
They're hunting.
and the friend rides off in pursuit of
Yeah,
the deer.
because they're chasing this poor deer with their hounds, which by the way, where did the dogs go?
Yeah.
But they're chasing this deer with their hounds and they finally corner him. And then Starcraft is just like, all right, just let him go.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he's like, no, we chased him all this way. Like, fuck off, Starcraft. We're gonna go kill him. And so he rides off by himself and encounters something in the woods he was not expecting.
oh yeah, there's a big like radioactive wasp.
yeah.
There's several.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell that's exactly what's happening for quite a bit.
It is. Yeah,
Because they look like green blobs just floating around.
Yeah, they. I was like, are they mosquitoes?
Right.
They kind of.
I thought they were mosquitoes.
Kind of glow. So it's like they're like lightning bug mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Like
I thought they were mosquitoes for sure.
I did too.
because of like the way it like landed on him and stuff.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And it just I didn't know it was wasps
I
until they
didn't know it
said
was-
later in the movie. I was
Right.
like, oh,
It was a bit dodgy.
yeah.
The effects work at that point. You can see they're like translucent. You can see through them. It's not very
Yeah.
well done.
But I guess when he dies, he's puffy, like
Yeah.
he's stung. So
Well,
I
he
guess
could
that
be
makes
a
sense.
mosquito.
Yeah, that's he could have sucked the blood out of him.
Yeah.
But that was the funny thing is they find him and he's like all purple and puffy and swollen, and they're like, oh, he fell off his horse.
It's like
I'm sorry. In what world?
right.
And they're just like, we have to go and get help. You stay here and I'll go. And I was kind of like, okay, you can make the action of this scene, these sequences, you can condense it, just keep them on the island once they're there.
Right.
But there is going to be like, we're going to leave the island. And then for some dumb reason, we're going to come back to the island. But he rushes off to find help. Marjoe does. And that's when he comes to the cabin of Ida Lupino. Now, Ida Lupino,
She's
we have spoken about before.
yeah, she's quite something. She was in silent films back in the day. That's where she got her start.
Yeah.
And then she ended up being a writer, director, producer.
I think she was like one of the first like women filmmakers.
Yeah, she was.
Her and her husband actually started a film company.
Yeah, I think Stanley Lupito, I think.
Maybe.
I think that was his name.
So she acted, she directed, she directed. I think she was credited. I briefly saw she was the first woman to direct a noir film.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
she
awesome.
was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And she acted, I think, like all the way up until like her death, I think. But we saw her as Captain Kirk's mom in The Devil's Reign.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Awesome.
I think that's the last
It's a
time we
great
talked
movie.
about Ida Lupino. We did that movie on this
Yeah,
show too.
but she was pretty cool.
So Ida Lupino and her husband, who we do not see, have been feeding the food of the gods that springs up in their front yard to the chickens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's when Marjoe Gortner makes this discovery that there's a big giant rooster
This
in
was
the hen house.
hands down my favorite scene of this movie.
Yeah, same.
I was not, I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't know anything going into this movie, but I was not expecting this, to say the least.
So how do they pull off these amazing special effects of attacking human actors with giant animals?
Giant heads.
Puppets.
Giant puppet heads.
Yep. The chicken coop is a really small, claustrophobic kind of shot. So it's mostly in shadow, and you just see this big rooster head coming out of the shadow at him over and over again. And then eventually we do see rooster feet, which I love to imagine it's just an actor wearing gloves, and he's just pawing at him with the glove hands.
Yes.
But I was glad we got to see more than just the head, and you actually got to see the feet come out too.
That was fantastic.
But the rooster never comes out of the coop.
And they're like fighting. They're like fist fighting him and this chicken. It's amazing.
So the quality of these effects, right? I mean, you're sitting there going like it's a guy with like rooster feet mitts, right?
Yes.
Later on, it's people with giant rat heads like poking at people, So somebody might watch these movies and go like, that looks fake as hell, you know?
Yeah.
But is that why we love them? Because you're imagining there's a guy standing there like poking at your actor with a big giant,
Yes, it's absolutely why.
charming.
It's absolutely why we love this. It's hilarious.
People go to the theater and watch a stage play that has similar levels of effects and enjoy it, even though it doesn't look realistic, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's fine for a movie as well. Like, I appreciate the puppets more than I appreciate the like bad composite shots. I would rather see puppet work than that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the puppet work's actually pretty good. I mean, at least the sculpts on these
They
things is
look
like,
good. Yeah.
that looks like a giant rooster.
Yeah.
That looks like a giant rat,
I'm like, it's not saying it looks real, but it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good fake. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Like if I came down here, I was like, you guys, I made this giant rooster head. I showed you that. You'd be like, that's an awesome
Oh, yeah.
rooster head.
Yeah.
Holy shit, you made this? Yeah.
yeah, it was Tom Berman, I think, was credited as the makeup effects or special effects on this movie. Don't know if he did Empire of the Ants. We'll have to watch that movie to find out. Because I'm sure there's big giant ant puppets,
That one, I'd be very triggered because of my recent events, but also that one would probably be easier to watch.
Yeah.
Probably.
There is a lot of rat death in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot.
The first scene of it, I was like, okay, we got it done.
Got it out of the
But then
way.
when it happened 2 more separate times after that for long
then it
sequences, I was
just
like,
kept
oh,
happening.
boy.
yeah, then it became, by the climax, it is a rat massacre. So
Yep.
I guess that's the thing. It's like, I mean, so we're talking, even though this movie is rated PG, this has
God.
graphic.
Yes.
I mean, you're supposed to believe that a character is shotgunning rats.
Someone is shooting
they are
rats.
actually
Yeah.
being shot and they're screaming, which makes it really hard.
You are
Yeah.
watching like close-up shots of rats getting shot.
Yeah, I don't know what caliber of weapon they're shooting
Probably
them with.
like a
but-
22.
Yeah.
Yeah. but they are blasting these things away.
There's a close up of one getting shot in the eye. Like it's
Oh yeah.
very graphic.
So, and that's why I actually, by picking it tonight, I knew there was some of it in there, but not as much as there was. Like, oh my God, this is like a nonstop.
It is a rat snuff film.
Yeah, it really is. You probably see 30 to 40 different rats get shot up close.
At least.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a couple of repeat shots, but there's still a lot.
Yeah. And drowned.
Yeah.
They drown them, as part of the climax.
Yes.
So how do we feel about on-screen rat death?
I hate it. I really hate it.
I really hate it. I
am not okay with it at all.
I don't even know if we need to be having animals in movies anymore for the most part. Maybe like horses and dogs and kind of leave it at that, and cats,
Yeah.
But beyond that, if we have to work really hard to train something to be in a movie, maybe we should just do it CGI and be better off for everybody,
I mean, now you can.
Yeah.
Now they barely use real animals.
Right.
I think, is that why? Is it because the training is
I mean, if you think about I don't know, like
the training and the laws.
like if you did the Jungle Book movie, for example, you got panthers, tigers, like all kinds of stuff, lots of dangerous things that are liabilities.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what insurance for a movie like that is like? If they can even get insured,
it's just wild that they used to make those. You know, I mean, I remember seeing
they just didn't give a fuck back then. There's just laws and regulations.
I mean,
Let's make
until
roar.
yeah. Because it was when like the American or the Animal Association got involved probably and had monitors, because I suppose that costs money and the training of I don't know, I've always been like I hate rats, right? They're a nuisance, but I think there is like a line when I am all for killing rats, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'm in favor of killing rats on screen for a person's entertainment.
Exactly, that's the thing.
Well, and like we've seen, rats can be kept as pets. And if these are did they just gather rats from the street and kill them? Or did someone raise these rats to be killed? It's just, I just don't like it.
I mean, they are vermin. I get that.
Right.
And they overpopulate and they run all over and,
they carry
so
disease,
we could have less of them.
Yeah.
But again, it's like when you're doing it, yeah.
Well, and we're not to get too into this because it's so morbid, but we're not seeing them die right away. They are being shot and screaming in pain, and it's not instant.
Well, screaming.
Kills.
There's sound effects dubbed in. We don't really know what the sounds were, but I mean, sure,
they're not immediately dead. They're not dead.
Yeah.
It's I'm hearing some squeaks that sound pretty real, and they're pretty shrieky.
I thought a lot of them sounded like they had dubbed cats and played it back at different speeds and stuff like that. There was a lot of all the animals made, even the wasps made weird sounds.
They're murdering them in droves, and they're running terrified, and it's just, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Just don't like it.
After they've been herded through.
Yeah,
right.
I think even on the electrical fence sequence, they're shocking rats, because there's a couple dead ones after that.
Yeah.
But then there's also a really cute scene early on where they are attacking a trailer, and like a camper trailer, and in the close-ups, it's clearly a toy camper with peanut butter on it. You can see peanut butter, to get them because they're never menacing in this movie. There's so many times they try to play music and sound effects to make them seem menacing, like they're attacking the house, when they're really just exploring and sniffing the outside of the house.
Probably they're just walking around.
Yeah.
Is that the problem with rats? I mean, at least okay. Now I'm going to say now in Night of the Lepus, right? You have an animal less threatening than a rat.
Yes.
Right? But I remember they'd put blood in their mouth or
Yes.
something. So it's look at that bunny rabbit's going to, it's crazy. It's going to eat you alive.
And the red blood on a white rabbit is really scary.
Yeah.
There is a white leader rat, which is an interesting take on this.
It is.
They tell us he's the leader, but we just see, they just cut to him on his own in shots, basically. So
Yeah, I know. I was kind of waiting for it to do something that would imply it was giving direction. It was there first, or
but
the
they can't get these
reinforcements
rats
came
to
behind it.
act, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No, they're not there to train them, just to kill them.
Yep.
The rats become the focal point of the movie. I guess if you've seen the ads or whatever, that is what the movie is. It's a giant rats attack people stuck on an island. Who are the rest of our... Okay, so Ida Lupino has raised whatever. She introduced the stuff to her chickens, and rats burrowed into her house and got to the food. And I guess the wasps have also...
And worms.
Oh yeah, were those
the
like
worms.
slugs or maggots?
Yeah, what were
They
those?
were like maggots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like giant foot-long maggots that wrap around her hand and start sucking blood
That
out
was
of her.
good.
disgusting.
They're so slimy looking. Oh, so gross.
That was so gross.
Great special effects because I was disgusted.
Horrified. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, that
was
was
thoroughly
pretty good.
horrified.
Yes.
So, and now, Marjoe Gortner has found, okay, so this is the source of the thing. And so he is going to go to the city, back to the mainland.
But because he comes back, like, just because his friend had just died, so he's like coming back to see if there's a phone or something. So he stops at the farm. That's when he gets in a fight with the chicken. And then, Ida Lupino, she comes out and she's like, I have this thing in my house. I want you to come see it, and I want you to confirm that it's what I think it is. Will you just come look at it? Like, it's the most ominous thing, and he's just like, oh, okay, I'll come take a look. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You psycho.
So you've seen my giant chicken. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to have to kill you. But,
Like, they're just so casual about it. Like, oh, you just fought my giant chicken. I got this thing in my house. I want you to take a look at it. Oh, okay.
but does Marjoe Gortner's character strike you as the sharpest?
No,
No.
he's
No.
really stupid.
He causes a lot of
and
problems in this movie.
he causes a lot of problems and makes a lot of explosives for being so stupid.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just a bad combination altogether.
He knows how to make pipe bombs.
The
He knows
last
how to-
person I want making a pipe
Right?
bomb, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
I guess that's the thing. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So the plot, right? He goes to get help and leaves.
Right.
And then we are introduced to a whole new cast of characters while we
Yeah.
wait for Marjoe Gortner to return.
Because they just leave with their friend.
Yeah. And then
Like,
they're playing
they
football
never-
and like, you know what I want to do this
They
weekend?
never like actually got help. They like collected their own friend's body and took it back to the mainland.
Yeah. Who would believe us if we told them that he was stung to death by a
Like,
giant
Well, it
None of-
looks like he was stung. He's
Yeah.
pretty swollen, so.
None of it makes sense. So there's no laws in British Columbia. Like
Right.
you can just move a body. Everything's fine.
He did say something about the coroner and the district attorney would weigh in on the death. So
Right.
I don't
After
know.
they collected it on their own. Like it
I
makes
know.
no sense.
Was the dead guy in the back of their Jeep as they were coming
Yeah,
back? I don't know.
apparently.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Apparently. Because they said that he brought him back and the guy was like, yeah, I saw it. Like, you saw the body? Was it just like everyone gathered around on the ferry looking at this body? Anyway.
I guess.
Yeah, he goes back to football.
So, and then he returns to the island at some point for like, let's go back there for fun. Meanwhile, a whole new cast of characters. So first of all, Mr. Skinner, this is Ida Lupino's husband, is in his Volkswagen and mauled to death by rats. This is pretty good. He's like eaten alive, torn apart.
Yeah. It's drug out. It's a long scene, but it's fun.
Yep.
Yep.
Body parts of him are
Yeah.
later seen
cut-
strewn across the.
Cut back and forth between the big rat heads in the car chomping at him, and then actual rats on a little like
Toy car.
Which
Being
is
very
great.
chill.
Which is really great. Yeah.
It's funny when they cut to the real rats because they're not at all attacking. They're literally just crawling around like, woohoo, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, and then we cut to the close up and it's like they're viciously attacking them.
And just like chilling out on a Hot Wheel.
Right.
It's great.
We're also introduced to the movie's antagonist, which is Mr. Burlington, and what was it's Pamela Franklin was the woman with it. What was her title? She was an ecologist or something. Worked for him?
Yeah.
Micro something.
Microbiologist.
Microbiologist, maybe? Micro
Okay.
something.
Yeah. Lorna was her name.
Okay.
Lorna, yeah.
So, Mr. Burlington, that's Ralph Meeker, the actor who was in Paths of Glory and a bunch of stuff like Kiss Me Deadly and whatever. Great Hollywood star who later ended up in movies like Food of the Gods and Without Warning,
Oh,
which we saw that we did on this show. And
actually
Pamela
plenty of
Franklin. Did any of
All
you guys?
warning.
I can't remember if we talked about her before.
Right. So she was very familiar. What do we know her from?
So did you ever see The Innocents, the adaptation, like the best adaptation of The Turn of the Screw? I think it was called The Innocents with Deborah Carr.
The best adaptation?
Yeah. It's better than The Haunting of Bly Manor. Oh, yes. It's better than the... Okay. So...
I didn't like Black Manor. I thought it was
Yeah.
There you go.
Bly Manor was actually
Well,
pretty
she
boring,
was
yeah.
Thora in the original movie, and then she came back. We did The Legend of Hell House. You remember that one? Roddy
I'm
McDowell
looking
was
at
the
IMDb
haunted
that-
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, she was the medium in that, and now she's
okay.
in this. We've only done 2 of her movies though. But so Pamela Franklin and Mr. Burlington, these are like an odd couple. He's the guy he's made a deal with the Skinners to get the food of the gods, package it up, take it back to the mainland and sell it and get rich off of it.
Yeah.
And she's like the microbiologist who's there to prove, I guess, what it is, but hates him for...
She's like his own personal FDA before the FDA was a thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so he's written as like the flat out bad guy of the movie, which is kind of ironic based on some of the things that happen later, but we're supposed to hate him. He represents, right? He's coming in.
He's just pure greed.
Yep.
If capitalism was a person, it'd be him.
I like his line though. It was kind of funny. It's like, but I'm doing it for the children. That was kind of funny.
Nice little thing there. Later, yeah.
And they pass a couple in a broken down RV that seem like they need immediate assistance, but they just keep driving.
Yeah. One of them is a very pregnant lady.
This is Brenda Belaski from The Howling. I didn't recognize the guy, her husband, but they're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. And so all of fate is going to basically drive all of these people to the farmhouse.
Fate's going to drive them together, or giant rodents are going to drive them together.
Well, who gets attacked next? Because Marjoe Gortner returns to the island. And
So they all...
oh, he goes after the bees.
Yeah, they all... bees.
The wasps.
The wasps,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so they all congregate back at the house, at the farm, right?
Yeah.
And then Marjoe and Man-at-Arms go off on their own again.
Because they're like, we're going to get those fucking wasps that killed our buddy.
Yeah. And before they go, there's a whole what to do about like, oh, we should take the asshole's big car and we can all pile in there and drive off. And Marjoe thinks that's a bad idea.
Is that after he kills the wasps, right? There's like this big to-do about him going out there and he plants a bomb inside. They find this giant wasp's nest like hanging from a tree.
Oh, right. They go do that before the couple makes it back to the farm.
Yeah, because
That's right. Yeah.
after he torches that thing, and we're like, woof, okay, the giant bees are gone, thank God.
Yeah.
Pamela Franklin back at the house apparently gets sucked into the rat tunnels underground. And so he has to go down in there, man of action, to go rescue her,
Right.
and shotgun a bunch of rats.
Right. And Marjoe goes down there to get her, and Man-at-Arms is pulling them out, and it collapses in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no! They're trapped in the tunnels with the giant rats.
Giant rat tunnels, yes.
But they get out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just really,
It's kind of a non-issue.
that scene has no bearing on this movie at all.
But it took a long time anyway for them to get out, even though it was like, okay, let's move it along. Okay, so now with all of the cast, and then I think
Right.
there's the attack at the RV, right? The giant rats attack,
yeah.
and
they make a run for it.
and they end up at the cabin.
They end up at the cabin.
Okay.
And this is where they get into the argument about getting in the car. And this is where it just makes no goddamn sense.
I know. I love this. This is the two, like Night of the Living Dead, right? You got the two alpha dogs arguing over what's the best way to survive the situation.
Right. And any sane person will understand that the bad guy in this moment is the only one making sense.
Yeah, he's like, let's get in my car and we'll just drive through all these rats.
Like he's the asshole of the movie, and he's literally like, get the pregnant lady and the old woman and put them in first.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then go like he's the only one making sense.
And Marjoe's like, you're not going to go until I say it's clear. It's like, my dude, by the time you go down the road to see where they're at, the road's not going to be clear anymore. You need to go now when you know where the rats are
right.
at.
And even
you know?
and Man-at-Arms is like, so we're gonna get in your open top Jeep.
Yeah, exactly.
And go and gets in. And I'm like, why are you going? You just said the problems with this.
Yeah, I think if he would have stayed, it would have changed the whole thing. But because he was
right.
like, okay, my buddy's going, I'll go, even though I disagree with this.
100%. If he
Change
had been
the
like,
power
if he had
dynamic.
been like, no, my brother, reconsider what you're doing. We're staying here. We're getting in the big car.
Right.
Marjoe would have been like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But no, off they go.
No.
And so Marjoe hatches a plan that's going to defend the cabin from the rats. And what is that? he finds a fence.
Oh, the fence. That's right. The fence. The fence.
Well, they end up driving the length of this fence.
Yeah. And they make it an electric fence.
Yeah.
And kill a bunch of rats.
I mean, even like how they were doing it. So it's like, I mean, again, he seems to, they had, hounds when they need them. They have a generator when they need it.
Right.
And they hook the generator up to the fence, which they've scouted out. It goes into the water on either side of the island. So it's like, okay, this is a barrier.
Right.
All we have to do is electrify this thing, kill all these rats. And so they do, and it does.
And it murders actual rats.
Yep. And then the other rats go down to the water, and it turns out because they're giant rats, they drown.
And they drown actual rats.
Yep. And then you're like, okay, they're safe. This boneheaded plan is actually working.
Nope.
What happens?
Man-at-Arms dies. They attack him.
But how? They're on the other side of the.
They're everywhere,
fence?
Colin.
Well, they I think they toppled a tree over the fence.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right,
Okay.
'cause they're smart.
Yes.
They're not just huge. They're also smart.
Well,
Yeah.
see, this would have been an opportunity to have that albino rat do the dirty work,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
but they
Show us
don't.
He's the smart one. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because they climb the tree over the fence and then they attack man at
I
arms.
hardly
They
had
kill
any
him.
footage of
The
that.
movie is ridiculous enough at this point. Like, you might as well just slap a general hat on his head and just
Exactly,
have him like
yeah.
actually like giving orders.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'd take that,
Right.
honestly.
But they don't have like any footage of this white rat. That
No,
they
just
use.
show it every once in a while
Yeah.
just to remind you that it's there.
Yep.
The king rat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
With his
choose.
beady red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the rats eat man-at-arms.
Mm-hmm.
So we're down another person.
Yep.
How many of this cast are going to make it to the end of the movie? We're all
It's a great
concerned.
question. It's a great question.
And so then there becomes talk about, again, I think, are we going to get in the car and go, or are we going to fortify the house from the rat attack? Doesn't he end up taking the other dude off on it? No, that was on the later mission.
Yeah, no. So they get back to the house, and the evil guy is trying to collect as much as the food of the gods as he can and put it in his trunk.
Mason jars and
Right,
stuff. as you
mason
do.
jars, because it's a little farm, so they
Yeah.
got plenty of jars.
He's down on his knees, like scooping
Bucket.
this,
So
like,
yeah, it's really
oatmeal into it.
disgusting.
Yeah.
It's really gross. So he's filling up the trunk, and he's ready to get everyone out of there. And that's when Marjoe shows up again.
And smashes all of his shit.
Smashes it all.
Yeah, like, no. His whole livelihood's like going
Yeah.
down the drain.
And he's trying to like scoop some of it back up to save it, and the rats catch up.
This is a stupid ass idea. Like if you were gonna break this stuff and get rid of it, use it strategically and throw it somewhere so to get the rats to go there,
Right.
because they're obviously attracted to this stuff. They love it.
Yeah, Piper those guys out of there.
Exactly, yes.
This seems
Instead, you drew them right to you. You dumb fuck. Like
these people
oh my
are so
God,
stupid.
yes.
Isn't the girl a scientist? Like, she's
Yeah.
supposed to be smart.
Well, all she does really is delivers the movie's moral position by yelling at
Right.
Burlington, whatever his name is, Barrington, the whole time.
Yeah, and
You
then,
just want to take this stuff and make money
and
off
then
of
randomly coming onto Marjoe.
it. That was great.
It was weird.
So the house becomes under siege. There's
Right.
rats attacking Marjoe.
Yeah, and the one guy that was with the pregnant girl, he's like, I think maybe he was right, and we should have taken the car. You think?
Marjoe actually concedes that point, which I thought was hilarious.
He's
I'm
like, yeah, you were. I was probably wrong.
yeah.
What?
He's like, yeah, maybe could have happened. And then, yeah. So he's like, like loading up, like the kerosene
Right.
bottles.
He's making pipe bombs and Molotov cocktails.
Right. Like you do.
Like you do.
I mean, you're gonna fight off like a horde of rats. The evil rats are coming, and she looks at him.
And she says, hey, I had a crazy thought right now. And he's like, what's your crazy thought? And she was like, I want you to make love to me. What?
And he's like,
Right now, he's like, you realize there's a lot going on right now.
As
Right?
he's like continuing to make a pipe bomb, he's like, hey, hold that thought.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bring it up again when we're back on dry ground.
Oh, but she has a point though in her rebuttal.
We might not make it.
Yeah.
There you go.
She might be right about that.
I mean, yeah, she's not wrong, but
Yeah.
it's still not the thing I'd be thinking about in that
Right.
moment. But okay.
So it's just like,
Sure.
we may not make it until morning, so we got to make it right now.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They
Because, he's like, okay, we got to actually fend off. I think a rat, like, rams through the door, like, very
Oh, yeah.
close to the scene.
Yeah, because he like hands her a shotgun. And he was like, "Hey, can you use this?" She's like, "Okay." He's like, "Do you know how to use it?" She's like, "No."
Yeah.
But she uses it. She does good.
There, at this point in the movie, I believe there became a lot of philosophizing about what it means to be alive.
Was there?
I heard it from a lot of characters. It seemed like Ida Lupino, right, is a very godly woman. She's always like, God gave us this food,
Yeah.
and then I am not afraid of death.
What God made that? All right.
I'm not afraid of death because it'll mean I'm going to be with my husband again. Then you have Belinda Blasky, the pregnant woman who's about to give birth, and she rattles on about how she used to lay in her bed thinking about what it would be like to die. And every reason, or every way I came up with wasn't as bad as getting chewed alive by a bunch of rats.
Which would never come to mind.
That's fair.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And I think Marjoe Gortner has a little thing where he's like, my daddy always told me.
Oh.
What was it? It's like that's what life is. It's you're born and you struggle and you try to do something productive and you fight death every step of the way. Very philosophical movie.
Yeah.
And then everybody has to fight off these rats. Okay, so what are they going to do? What's the plan? I mean, it's a siege. The rats come out of nowhere and they start piling onto the house, the little miniature house. It's awesome.
And naturally, Marjoe and the pregnant woman's guy, I don't know his name, they go off in the Jeep again because they've got a plan that involves their makeshift bombs.
Well, at least Marjoe has a plan. He just barks at that guy too.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to get in the
get in the Jeep and come with
fight.
me. Okay. So they leave.
Yeah, they just hightail that off. I don't know if they actually told anybody they were leaving.
I don't know. I
Don't know. A lot of things are choppy in this movie.
Yeah. As rats are attacking and busting in through and coming into the house because they're shotgunning them like in the living room at this point.
Like boarding up the windows and shit. And the Mrs. Skinner doesn't make it.
And to make things even more complicated, there's a live birth happening.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the moment, Mrs. Skinner is like, "Don't worry. I know all about giving birth. Being on a farm will give you a, good education in that. So we're going to be fine. Everything's fine." And then Mrs. Skinner dies.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah.
This is while the pregnant lady goes into labor. So now the biologist is pressed into service to help deliver a baby. And the entire movie, Holly has been hoping for one thing.
All I wanted when I learned that this movie was about a substance that made, because we hear at one point they explain that when Mrs. Skinner fed the chicken feed that was laced with the goo, fed it to the regular chickens, nothing really happened to them. They didn't grow big. But when you feed it to the baby chickens, they grow massive, right? So we learned that earlier on in the movie. And then I say we have a pregnant character. And all I want in this goddamn movie is giant baby. That's all I want. That's all I want.
And it feels like, why include a pregnant character if you're not going to do that,
Exactly. It's like in the Meg when they have a helicopter and you don't get the shark coming out and taking down the helicopter.
I couldn't believe that didn't happen in that movie.
Why didn't that happen? I am aware they do it in Jaws 2. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it again.
Right.
I was trying to figure
All I
out
want was giant baby.
how they were going to get to the giant baby because I figured they were going to do the giant baby thing.
Yeah.
And somehow
I was like, this is easy. The goo got into the water supply.
The pregnant mom needs a drink.
Yeah, pregnant mom or they're like using water to get whatever. Water. It got into the water supply. That's all you have to do. This is an easy fix.
But they don't do it. And so we have
and they
delivery.
give the quickest, cleanest birth of all time. And 3 minutes later, she's on her feet, running up the stairs.
Yep.
Because Marjoe Gortner and the husband, or sorry, not the husband.
There's a whole like
a women's lib 70s thing going on there. Like, we're not going to get married even though we're living together. And
we're having a baby. I don't need that certificate. I don't need it. It'll change everything. It's a stupid nothing conversation.
Yeah, because nothing really comes of it.
No, it
it's
doesn't.
just in
It means
there.
nothing.
It's like a social message of 1976.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Did we mention that the rats were smart enough to cut off the water supply to the
Oh,
house?
yeah.
And we get so this is another way we know they're smart because they understand what water is and that it's necessary.
Yeah.
But we get a quick cut to a adorable little model pipeline with a little bite taken out of it.
It's
next
so
to this
cute.
rat that hasn't the
And
rat's
it's-
not even near the pipe.
No.
It's just like hanging out.
But then
it's
there's
so
just
cute.
like these little like sprinkles of
Some
water
water.
coming out just next to the
adorable.
rat. It's
Yes.
just so cute.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, it's like them cutting the power.
Yes,
They cut the
exactly.
water.
It's like if
supply.
they had a phone, like they would immediately cut that phone line.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I think the rabbits cut the phone. Okay.
Sure.
Well, Kingdom of the Spiders, didn't they cut the power?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, because remember he was in the basement trying to fix it, and then they were all in the window of
Oh,
the basement.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't they go into the power box
Yeah,
or something
yes.
and they
I
kill
can't
the power?
stress enough how much people should watch Kingdom of the Spiders.
Yes, and we're saying there's people who hate spiders.
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
the movie is delightful.
Give me a hammer and nails. So,
So funny.
so
Right.
the plan. What
So,
is the
yeah,
plan? These guys
Marjoe
are.
and other dude take the Jeep. They find the dam that apparently they were told about, which none of us.
I know they
caught
show up
that.
at a dam. It's like, how'd you know there was a dam here? Oh, Mrs. Skinner told me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
wait.
none of us remember that happening, but okay. So they show up at the dam with their, makeshift bombs, and they blow up the dam
Yep.
like you do.
Now, there's a whole bunch of questions I had here.
Sure.
Like, are you going to outrun water in your Jeep?
That's why there was a very long fuse on their fake bombs, and they drove off really fast. They got a head start on the explosion.
Two
Next question.
was like, okay, you haven't apparently informed anyone at the house that this is the plan.
Correct.
And the water is headed for the house.
Correct.
Is anybody in the house going to survive? And number 3
Mm-hmm.
was, is there anybody else living on this island?
No.
It sure doesn't seem like
No.
it.
No.
I don't feel like it.
It feels like there's just her house and that's
Right.
it.
Even though there's a ferry to it.
But doesn't she say at one point in time, like, my house is the one farthest east on this island? And, like, there's
Yeah,
one point where they do a little geography.
Yeah, there's
talk,
a large ferry that goes to this island.
Right.
So
Yeah.
something is happening at this
Right.
island.
Perhaps everybody lives on the other side of the fence.
Yeah. Yes, sure. We'll say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the dam explodes. Special effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Water rushes into the valley.
Very realistic.
Not done as well as I would have hoped. You know,
Yeah.
you're hoping for Superman level
Mm-hmm.
model work, but no. It's like superimposed water.
Yep.
Until we get to the model house, I guess we have the model house with a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of real rats crawling on it.
Yeah.
And there's like this cutout area in the mat where they're up on the roof, right? Shotgunning rats as they're drowning in the water.
Yes, they are.
Yep. So that's shotgunning, a lot of drowning.
Yep.
But
Lots of rat
thank
death, yeah.
God our heroes survive this melee until
Thank God she's able to run upstairs after just giving birth.
Yep.
Right.
Cleanest birth of all time.
Pretty fast, too.
Microbiologist, not a drop of blood on her.
right. Although the king rat does appear.
Yep.
After all the other rats are dead, king rat appears.
Yeah.
And attacks Marjoe Gortner, who returns to the scene. I don't know exactly. I can't remember how he got to the scene since they were driving and the place was flooded, but somehow he was there.
They made it back before the water got there.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I told you they got a head
Yeah,
start.
they got a head start.
Yep.
And so Marjoe Gortner, mano y mano, takes down the king rat by punching it, clubbing it to death, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that when he and his partner, man-at-arms, were attacked earlier, somehow Marjoe Gortner was just able to bash the rat in the face with his fists, and that kept him from being torn apart. But the other guy,
Right.
you know, didn't fight hard enough. I guess that's what's going on there. And so we're like, okay, thank God we're relieved. The movie has thankfully contained this horrible pestilence to the island too here. We've drowned them all. They're dead.
And we get a lovely voiceover to wrap it up.
Because they dragged all their corpses out and the rats put them in a pile and
didn't
burn them.
need that.
Yeah. Drug the rat corpses, set them on fire.
Pamela Franklin indignantly throws the last jar of the food of the gods. The last jar that we think, anyway.
They should have. This is like, zombie vampire rules. You got to make sure it's dead. You can't just throw this jar in the ground and be like, it's fine when it's like an environmental hazard.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to make sure it's properly disposed of.
I know what happens when you aerosol, make it into an aerosol.
I know. Oh,
Well,
God.
I mean, yeah, because we get that voiceover, and Marjoe's like, "Well, I went back to playing football, and and everything
Some crazy stories.
Everything was all right. I can't imagine what would happen if we missed any of that stuff when we were setting
Even a
it all on
drop.
fire. Yeah, even a drop, as like the camera is showing these 2 jars floating down river.
Yes, 2 giant jars.
Two giant jars floating down river, and then get hung up at a farm. A dairy farm.
Yes.
Yep. Bunch of
Where-
cows.
Yep.
Cows are drinking the water that the goo is in.
And we thought that was going to be it.
But then the cows get milked.
Yes. it spoon feeds you every step of this process.
Cows get milked. Milk gets processed. Milk goes to elementary school.
Elementary school kids drink milk.
Drink milk. And we end on a freeze frame of a little girl drinking the contaminated milk.
Yes.
And I still didn't get my giant goddamn baby.
I can't believe they took it that far and then stopped. That's the point they choose to stop.
Yeah.
You did everything else but give me the baby.
Come on.
That's all I wanted.
Well, there was a Food of the Gods 2. It was called Gnaw. Food of the Gods 2, Part 2.
Okay.
Gnaw.
God.
So I think you have to look it up under the G.
Okay.
you know.
I'm not going to look it up. Is there a giant baby or no?
I don't know. I never saw it, but it was made in the 90s and it was made direct to video. I remember when it came out, I remember seeing commercials for it, but I hadn't seen the first one at that point, so I never watched Gnaw. Food of the Gods 2, which is, I'm sure, a prime freak show candidate.
Oh, I'm sure it sounds like it, especially if it was
Should be,
made in the 90s.
Yeah, but I don't know that it shares any, anything with this movie. Although it could be after the Food of the Gods gets out, most likely. Okay. Any stray observations on Food of the Gods before we wrap this up?
I wanted more varieties of giant animals. I wanted to see more than just rats and worms and
Chickens.
chickens.
and
Yeah, the chickens were hilarious. I could have
wasps.
did more giant farm
Yeah.
animals. Would have been funny. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
giant cow. Would be
Yeah.
Nice.
Right?
You go through all that trouble. I might as well
Yep.
show me a giant cow.
Maybe in
Right.
the second one. Actually,
Maybe.
it feels like there might be a giant cow or something in the second
take
one. I
it.
can't remember. Okay. Well, we are going to go around the table and tell you individually what we thought of tonight's movie and whether you should watch it. But first, we're going to answer some of your mail. And in order to do that, we're going to have to summon our mailman, Igor. Bring us the mail.
Masters, the mail. I've got the mail. So many letters. Our followers are rising.
Why, thank you, Igor.
Oh, you know he drinks some of that milk.
Yeah, I think he got big for a while, and then how you use steroids, like your nuts will shrivel up.
Oh, sure.
Like instead of
All
he
of him
abused
shriveled up?
all of him shriveled
Yeah.
up. Yeah, he abused
For
the food of
sure.
the gods. He had a hard time with kicking that.
He roided out on that shit.
Yeah,
and
he
just
did.
Shriveled to no end.
He looked like The Rock for a good 6 months there, and then
Yeah.
it just it went backwards for him, unfortunately.
For sure.
Yeah, you guys remember his ripped era?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who can
Yeah.
forget?
He won't let us forget.
Well, we want to let all the good folks at home know how they can participate on this interactive portion of our show by following along on Facebook,
Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show,
on X,
@Sat Freak Show.
by email,
CenterFreakShow@yahoo.com.
on Instagram at Saturday Night Freak Show. About tonight's movie, The Food of the Gods. Joey Blythe, who continues to send us these great
Yes.
posters
Love
involving
them. Thank
Igor
you.
and tonight's movie.
I like seeing Igor brought to life.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
It's
It's
nice.
fun.
Joey says, "Oh, yes, I forgot about this one. It's the one with the giant cock."
I was
mean-
going to make that joke. Oh, you beat me to it.
Good one.
Well done.
Michael Whitaker says, I don't know, out of the movies based on this H.G. Wells novel, I might prefer Village of the Giants. I can't quite put my finger on it. Why, though? And yes, Ronnie Howard is, in fact, a young Ron Howard. And both movies are directed by none other than the Schlockmeister himself, Mr. Big, Bert I. Gordon. His initials spell out Big.
I love it.
Pat Hatfield says, I saw this at the drive-in And in my opinion, it's an entertaining enough exploitation movie. Also, unless you've already done it, of course, you might also want to discuss another giant creature feature made by Bert I. Gortner around the same time, which was also supposedly based on something by H.G. Wells. I'm, of course, referring to the Joan Collins, Robert Lansing movie Empire of the Ants.
There you go.
I feel like we have a lot of big territory to explore
Yeah.
here. I'm excited about this.
The boy with the Jason tattoo says, I got to see this at a local theater. They were doing an event called Nerdoween during October. They did 3 movies, which were all food themed. The first movie was The Stuff, and the second movie was The Food of the Gods, and then Blood Diner.
Nice.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
that's awesome.
I've never seen Blood Diner.
I've never seen it either.
No.
Maybe we're going to bring it then.
I was like,
Yeah.
Actually, that reminded me, Ida Lupino was, I think, the only woman to direct an episode of The Twilight Zone. She
Yeah.
did the masks.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's hers.
She directed
Last,
an episode of the Donna Reed show, too.
Oh, awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
last week, we watched a movie called Subservience.
We sure did.
And, okay, so Mark Harrison is responding to something we said during the movie that it takes, you go into that movie and you're like, how long is it going to take this guy to have sex with this robot?
Sure.
And
Did you guys take bets?
No, but we paused it to see the timestamp when it happens.
Cool.
it's
Yep.
41 minutes.
Yep.
Oh.
Which seems sooner than I would have thought, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Mark Harrison
Movie's an hour
says
45, so.
at 41 minutes, that man's got restraint of steel.
Yeah, I mean, she was in the house for like, what, a week?
Yeah.
How, like,
yeah.
okay, because I was not here for it. How quickly is she in the house from the start of the movie?
Like
10 minutes.
10
10
yeah,
minutes?
yeah.
I would have thought that he would have had sex for like maybe 12 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's
Well, there's a hand job.
there's
happens
a hand
before
job
that we didn't
and then
count.
he stops her
Yeah.
and then he fantasizes about banging her while he's running
Okay.
off his sexual aggression.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
there
I
is
guess-
like a
so she
there's a lead up.
starts.
Yeah.
Like, so like
Yes.
12
Yeah.
minutes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, because he's stressed and she has to bring his heart rate down.
So I guess, right, we're probably doing this wrong because we see although it's him fantasizing, we see it
We do see
like
his
it maybe
fantasy,
30
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Having
all
sex
right.
on his car, yeah.
Okay.
James
His classic car that he fixes up because
Ooh,
he's
what
an
kind of-
analog man in a
What kind of
digital
car is
world.
it?
it was a Camaro. Oh, an old Camaro. Yeah.
I love a Camaro.
James Hogan says, I was really bored throughout this movie. The acting was goodish. The
Oh,
movie felt
James.
slow and the action was forgettable. Now I will cleanse my palate with the superior fembot film Deadly Friend.
Good news
Well, I
for you,
mean,
friend.
yeah,
Good
we've
news for
covered
you.
Deadly Friend.
We covered Deadly Friend.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to our Deadly Friend
Yes.
episode. Okay, well, thank you all
Yeah.
for
Yes,
writing in. We
thank you
really
so much.
appreciate it.
We really appreciate it.
And now we're going around the table and telling you what we thought of tonight's movie, The Food of the Gods, starting with
Michaela, what did you think of the Food of the Gods? I already almost
Yeah.
forgot, even though you just said it.
You know, this has been on my list for a while because I heard it was like an animal attack movie. And I did like a summer of animal attack movies once, and there is a lot to this subgenre that we still can explore. And I like they never really get old for me as a premise. I always love it, even though it is like there's barely a plot to most animal attack movies, right? But this one, yeah, it was. I knew it was about a bunch of different animals, but I expected more, I guess, than just like worm. Chicken and mostly rats. It's mostly a rat movie, to be honest.
Yep.
And we've watched a couple of other rat movies on here before. Yeah, I liked it, but there was way too much actual footage that was hard to watch of rats being murdered. I was kind of like bargaining with myself watching it, being like, okay, if it was just that one scene, maybe this movie I can still recommend, especially if it finishes strong. But then when it did it 2 or 3 more times, and it's just like the climax of the movie is real life rat murder, and it's just it's very graphic. It's just hard to watch, and I don't think I think too much of the runtime is dedicated to that to find it enjoyable. Unfortunately, the odds are not in its favor. And we've watched other movies where similar things have happened, but it's usually just one scene and you can kind of move past it. But this movie doesn't let you move past it. It's a good premise, and I do like that it's based. I kind of want to read the H.G. Wells story and see what that's like because I'm curious. I do like that it's not over explained and not like here's all this crazy backstory about why this works. It's just magic mud, dude. I don't know. I love that they're just like we don't know. We fed this thing and they're giant. Wouldn't those chickens be laying giant eggs then?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we see giant eggs?
Yeah.
Like that seems like an easy prop to do.
Yeah.
It misses quite a few beats and doesn't land some things. Always a pleasure to see Marjoe Gortner. We love him around here because he's in iconic stuff. But yeah, it's just too hard to watch for too much of the movie, so I'm gonna have to not recommend it. But if it sounds like that's something that wouldn't bother you, maybe you would enjoy it because it does have fun moments. And it's charming when it's using the puppets and like the models. The model of the rat with the broken pipe is my favorite thing ever. I loved that.
That was
but
great.
yeah, there's just too much upsetting stuff to make it worth watching. So I'm going to pass on it. Holly, what'd you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. There is a lot. This is a rat snuff film. Like there is a lot of rat death, and it's a bit. I understand what rats are, and I understand that we can't have too many of them. Blah blah blah. I don't want to watch them die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I have to.
It's
a
a live animal. I don't want to watch it die. I know it's a rodent, but I don't care. Yeah, some of the moments in this were really enjoyable, but not enough to overshadow the rat death. Some of it was charming, like the giant chicken was just hilarious. I loved that scene. But a lot of the scenes are too long, and I was bored throughout a lot of this movie. Like between the charming bits, it's a lot of boringness. So yeah, I'm going to say pass on it. I agree with what you said, Michaela. If you can look past, maybe it's for you, but I feel like we've watched other movies that were more enjoyable, more fun. So yeah, it's not like I hated it. I hated the rat death.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie, like it was kind of fun. It was kind of charming, but yeah, just not enough. We've seen better, and it's just not worth sitting through, in my opinion. But yeah. So I'm gonna say pass. Colin.
Well, I think at this point, the thing that I'm like grading it against other giant, animal movies
That's
that
fair.
I've seen,
There's a lot of them to choose from too,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I think maybe we've already covered some of the better ones. So then you're like, okay, I go into this and, I knew this is like the second time I watched it. I bought because I wanted Food of the Gods and Empire of the Ants, and MGM put them out on 2 different discs. So I got Frogs, and I think the Jaws of Satan, which was the snake movie that we haven't brought to the show yet.
That's
Where
the one we need
devil
to. Yes.
is a snake, and with cinematography by Dean Cundy.
Yeah. We got to do this.
So
what a great title too, Jaws of Satan.
Jaws of Satan.
Hell
That's a great title.
So I forgot that I knew there was like shotgunning of mice or rats or whatever, but I forgot about just how relentless it is toward the end. And so it becomes distasteful, to watch, but it's like, okay, so that's a strike against it. And then I think the things that also drag it down, the dialogue, I thought was horrible. And it's written, produced, and directed by Bert I. Gordon. And, obviously he had been in the business for a long time. It feels like an older guy's, trying to make a modern movie. Yeah. Like it feels like the characters talk like stock 1950s characters talk. Everything is, in the dialogue, not really in the performance.
Yeah, every person in this movie, I'm like, how old are you?
Yeah. And I agree with Holly. I found long stretches of it to be boring, where they were, especially like in the rat tunnels, or a lot of time you're just watching, slow motion rats running around. There's not like a decent sense of geography, or urgency. Like, oh my God, they're coming for the, you just don't know. They're just, crawling around all over the place.
I also don't like Marjoe's intense face.
Yeah.
Well, like when he's like baring his teeth, he does that like the whole. I don't like that face.
I think that's why they cast him, because he can, get like, all of them. It's like, I have no fault to the actors.
I don't like the face.
I mean, they were doing, and part of my love of these type of movies is watching, people get paid to act like a fool in front of a big giant, puppeted rat head. That amuses me. It's like how and
that's
they commit to the bit.
And I do love that Ida Lipinski still talks with that transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
I do love that.
So I like the cast. and I like the premise. I was worried, and I think on this viewing that they pretty much give it away. It's there was the food of the gods. It came out of a spring. I fed it to my chickens. That's like within 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, now you don't have anything else to reveal.
Nope.
Right.
For the rest of the movie, like, why is this crazy shit happening? And here's this, and then this other thing that they're going to get to the storehouse of it, and then everybody's there. There's going to be all sorts of different animals. So, and the plot, like I said, has a weird, like ping pong kind of feeling where it's like, we're going back to the city and then we're coming back to the island. We're like, why don't we just do it all, like
how
overnight
many times did we see them on that ferry and we didn't need to?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't need to.
So I think ultimately the movie is unsuccessful. I know it was probably one of the most heavily promoted of the 70s, giant monster, giant animal movies. But I think, I know Kingdom of the Spiders is not giant, but that's a superior one. Alligator from 80, Grizzly, as you mentioned, the ones that we mentioned, you got to go check those out. And Night of the Lepus, for those of you who don't know that a lepus is a bunny rabbit. That
it
one
should be an Easter tradition.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to check that one out because that's got DeForest Kelly is in it. And
I think that one's the ultimate giant.
Yeah, I know.
I think so. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Not Rory. Was Rory Calhoun in that movie? Or not? Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Janet Lee.
Janet Lee is also in that. Yeah. So I had a Stuart Whitman. I mean, it was like casting. Yeah. You got to see it. Okay. So yeah, I would say you can probably pass on Food of the Gods. And I remember Twisted Pair. Next week, we're going to watch a movie that's chosen by
Sean. Is there a delegate for Sean?
Yes. Senator Tyler has given me his vote. Next week, we will be watching Night of the Comet. I've not seen this. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the title.
That is the Valley Girl meets sci-fi kind of.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
This has been on my list.
Night of the Comet.
And you guys haven't seen it?
Nope, have not seen it.
Okay. Well, it's a cult classic. A lot of people have. A lot of people enjoy it. We're going to find out if we do too next week.
I've seen a lot of clips of it, so we'll see.
All right. Next week on Saturday Night Freak Show, we hope you'll join us. And until then, ladies and germs, the basement is going dark.